Please welcome the Vice President of Amazon Machine Learning, Dr. Swami Sivasubramanian.
Hello, and welcome to day 3 of re:Invent. It's such a pleasure to be joining you again this year at the keynote stage, this time in person. Last year, it was a privilege to talk about a topic that was very near and dear to my heart, machine learning. But if you look at what's powering the ML revolution, it is all about how customers are reinventing their business with data. Data is the underlying force that fuels the insights and the predictions that helps you make better decisions and spur completely new innovations. However, the idea of big data isn't new. The term big data was in fact coined in 1987. And since then, data has become very big. Data is already proliferating through organizations like never before, arriving from everything from smartphones to smart cities. And it is growing so rapidly. In fact, experts believe the term zettabyte, which is the equivalent of 1 billion exabytes, is soon going to be commonplace in the corporate technology lexicon. And it's not just neat and tidy structured data. It is unstructured data, like images, documents, handwritten notes, geospatial data, and many more. In fact, 80% of data today is unstructured. Now, with such diverse data spreading faster than most companies can keep track of, having data and actually getting value out of that data is a challenging thing to do. But harnessing this data while challenging is imperative to your current business, but also in the future. It is the survival of the most informed and those that can put that data to work to make better, more informed decisions, respond faster to the unexpected, and uncover completely new opportunities are those that are really going to thrive. To show you what I mean, let's look at a timely application of data-driven decision-making from the world of sports, where every second matters.
Swimming in Australia is the most successful Olympic sport.
We're looking at what's it going to take to win, not just in Paris in 2024, but also in 2032 in Brisbane. We had a lot of data, but we weren't maximising that. With the help of the solutions architects at AWS, we're able to put all that data in one place, and now the data is starting to talk to each other.
We can see what we need to do in terms of overall skills, whether that's starts and turns, how they pace the race, but we can also get the stroke mechanics. That bit is the key. That tells us the focus area when the coaches get back into training.
It's about pulling training evidence and combining it with machine learning and AI to develop an individualised bespoke program around the individual swimmer. Australia, in sport in general, has always been at the forefront of science. Information, data and knowledge is power.
Australia Swimming is improving their game with data. But of course, it's not just sports where data is imperative. As demand for mobile-first, real-time, mission-critical financial data increased, NASDAQ consolidated all their data products in the cloud in a central location with APIs. This gave their customers the ability to consume data quickly, and what used to take them months, now the time to market have decreased to weeks. As COVID-19 cases soared last spring, rising hospital occupancy became a global concern. In the Netherlands, Philips created a nationwide real-time data exchange platform based on their Philips HealthSuite solution built on AWS. This solution enabled care providers to exchange COVID-19 patient data between hospitals quickly and securely with a touch of a button while finding the hospital beds for their patients. In fact, in just a month's time, 95% of Dutch hospitals had been connected to the portal. When Carrier needed to get better insight into its supply chain, it developed a system that broke down all its data silos, and they were able to put their data in a central location to get a 360-degree view of its spend profile. Then they applied AI and machine learning to unlock insights from that data to achieve significant efficiency improvements and enabling a multi-million-dollar savings opportunities. So, as you can see, opportunities to transform the business with data exist all along the value chain. To illustrate this opportunity, let's walk through an example of how data is used in an e-commerce application, something we know a lot about in Amazon. So it starts with storing and accessing data. E-commerce sites rely on a lot of data, and they generate a lot of data. For the last couple of decades, if you are building an e-commerce app, you'll probably end up starting with a relational database because that's the easiest thing to do. So you build an app with tables, rows, and columns to display things like web page data, and then actually product information and customer reviews and so forth. But as the scale and complexity of the data used by your e-commerce app grows and your user base grows, your needs change. That's where purpose-built databases come through, because they become necessary to get the best price and performance. For instance, for customer reviews, you need a database for high performance at any scale, like a key-value database. If you're trying to build product recommendations, you need to be able to store relationship data and find connections using a graph database. And then there is a lot of data generated in these applications and stored in various databases. But data doesn't just come alone from databases. There is clickstream data coming from your mobile devices. There is sensor data coming from your IoT services. And all this data contains valuable information that will help you unlock new insights. With all this data, now you have a treasure trove of information to get insights like, how is my customer satisfaction score trending quarter over quarter? Or you can also ask complex questions like, what customers should I target for my next promotion? Or how should I forecast the sales for my new product in my business? To answer these complex questions, you need to unify your data from different types of data silos into a data lake. From there, for instance, you may want to combine customer spend from your transactional database with customer reviews from, let's say, your key-value database to understand who should we target for our next promotion. Now, after you have built your data lake, you can unlock insights from your data with a variety of analytics and BI tools, depending on your use case. For example, you might want a data warehouse to get quick results for queries like, what is my customer churn rate? Or you may also want technologies to search and analyze your log data to understand the health of your production system. You can also combine your clickstream data and transactional data to build a really smart recommendation engine. And of course, you can also build a BI dashboard to enable business users in your company to derive insights from all this data. Then you can put this data to work, where you can also use this data in your data lake or other data stores to fuel machine learning models that help you create better customer experience or improve operational efficiencies. For example, the e-commerce side can use machine learning trained on this data to forecast the appropriate amount of demand for each of your product in each of your fulfillment center. Or it can streamline customer interactions in your contact center, or provide real-time personalized recommendations in your e-commerce app. So now you have an end-to-end view of life of data, from its inception to action. As you can see, the application of data is really vast and diverse. And harnessing this data to its full potential requires more than just having one data store or one data lake technology or one data warehouse or one ML technology. It is about having a complete end-to-end data platform to store and access, analyze and visualize, and predict. And to ensure that the right people get access to the data at the right time, you must also implement tools to manage security and access control for each of your data tools. AWS provides the most comprehensive set of services for the entire end-to-end data journey across databases, analytics, and machine learning. AWS is unique in the fact that we have been investing in this journey for more than 12 years, starting with Amazon RDS. Since then, we have continued to invest in making AWS the best place for your data. We have relational and purpose-built data stores and storage with Amazon S3 to store and access data. We provide the most comprehensive set of purpose-built analytics services for all your analytics use case, and an ML-powered BI service to make data visualization accessible to everyone in your organization. Then we have the broadest and deepest set of AI and ML services to meet your needs. And finally, the tools to provide data security and access control. My own personal career in AWS has been about building this end-to-end data journey. It started with building out various technologies like Dynamo, S3, Amazon RDS, DynamoDB, Aurora, many of our big data services, and of course, all our machine learning capabilities like SageMaker and beyond. This investment is helping our customers thrive. More than 1.5 million customers choose AWS for their data needs. And it's not just leading-edge hot tech startups, but also over 100-year-old companies are reinventing their business with data. But we also know that building a comprehensive end-to-end data strategy is not always an easy and straightforward journey. There are companies that are still not yet there, despite their best efforts. In fact, according to a McKinsey survey of B2B companies, only 25% of respondents said they use data weekly, while 9% admitted that they don't use data at all to make decisions. And an overwhelming 86% of respondents said they wish they could do more with data. To get here, you need to implement a modern end-to-end data strategy, one that can handle the enormous growth in data, one that can meet your various use cases for now, but also in the future, and one that can tie together the full data journey from storing your data to putting your data to work. Now, there are 3 key elements to a modern end-to-end data strategy. First, you need to modernize your data infrastructure. Don't run your databases like you are living in the 1990s. Don't run your data infrastructure on-prem or self-managed in the cloud, where you have to deal with so much undifferentiated heavy lifting. AWS can take care of all of this for you with unmatched experience, maturity, reliability, security, and performance. Second, you need to unify your data, creating a single source of truth that can be used to make decisions quickly. You need to connect everything together, including your data lake, data warehouse, and all your data stores, into a coherent system that is secure and well-governed. And finally, you need to innovate with this data, creating really new experiences and reimagining old processes with AI and machine learning. Here, AWS meets you where you are in your journey with our broadest and deepest set of services for builders of all levels of expertise. Now, let's begin with Modernize.
The individual mobility world and hence the entire automotive industry are currently undergoing a profound change. At the BMW Group, we see this transformation as an opportunity to set new industry standards and innovate in the fields of electrification, connectivity, and automated driving. Automated function and connected vehicles can help optimize traffic flows, minimize the risk of accidents, cut emissions levels, create more personalized customer experience that make owning and driving vehicles easier and more intuitive. A vital component to implementing these capabilities is an online connection to a global, reliable, scalable, and secure connected car backend platform. AWS provides the cloud infrastructure for our connected car platform, which comprises approximately 600 BMW applications for all markets, generations, and product lines. Today, the BMW Group, as a pioneer in the connected vehicle area, runs a fleet of 15 million connected vehicles that is steadily increasing. In a 24-hour period, this fleet drives 114 million kilometers, transmitting information along the way. One of our major challenges is to migrate our mostly on-premises hosted services to the cloud while simultaneously increasing load and functionality. In collaboration with AWS and their architecture and professional service team, we succeeded in shifting a big portion of our workload to AWS without any downtime. Our foundation is a platform as a service that we call Orbit. Moreover, we use AWS machine learning as a part of our platform, which is leveraging the data stream from our vehicles to build even more intelligent services for our customers.
BMW is modernizing its data infrastructure to bring new experiences that are only possible because of the cloud. Building products based on the growing volume of data requires moving to a data infrastructure that lets you save time and costs while improving your performance, availability, and scale. However, running legacy data infrastructure on-prem or self-managed in the cloud is tedious, time-consuming, and expensive. You have to worry about hardware and software installation. You have to worry about configuration, performance and availability, security, compliance, and availability, and failover, and so many other issues. And many of the on-prem data stores are from old guard vendors like Oracle and Microsoft with SQL Server. These are expensive, proprietary, and often come with high degree of lock-in. The most straightforward and simple solution for many customers who are struggling to maintain their own relational database at scale is to move to a managed database service. And these customers are often moving to Amazon Aurora, a MySQL and Postgres compatible relational database that combines the security, availability, and performance of a high-end commercial database while providing the cost effectiveness and simplicity of an open source database. Aurora has 5x the performance of standard MySQL and 3x the performance of standard Postgres, and is 1/10 the cost of commercial databases. And Aurora is still the fastest growing service in the AWS history with tens of thousands of customers. These are companies like Airbnb, AstraZeneca, BP, Capital One, Fannie Mae, Petco, Verizon, and Volkswagen. These customers come to Aurora because Aurora takes care of all the undifferentiated heavy lifting associated with running a database. You don't have to worry about administration anymore. You don't have to worry about provisioning. You don't have to worry about patching or backup or recovery. And also now, you don't have to worry about over-provisioning or under-provisioning and incurring fixed capital costs either. Now, one area where our customers have given us a lot of feedback when it comes to relational databases like Aurora is that they said they could use more help with automation, especially in the diagnosis of database performance issues. A number of factors affect database performance, and customers often find it challenging and really time-consuming to identify those issues and actually fix them. So if you look at what we do in the application domain with the application code, our customers are starting to leverage Amazon DevOps Guru, which uses machine learning to detect issues in your application and help you not just diagnose it, but also provides recommendations to fix it. However, determining the underlying reasons and also solutions for databases requires a specific set of database skills and expertise. So this ends up being very time-consuming, and debugging these issues can really be sometimes hours, what should be minutes. But we asked ourselves, what if you could get alerts when there is a database issue and also get the precise guidance to fix it? For instance, what if you could be alerted to a database locking scenario that is causing your e-commerce website to slow down, then be guided directly to the offending SQL statement? Or what if you could pinpoint that unusual spike in database wait time that is being caused by you deploying the code in the completely wrong region altogether? Or what if you could identify a faulty database driver setting that is causing your investment platform to slow down, costing you millions of dollars in just a few minutes? To address issues like these, I'm excited to announce Amazon DevOps Guru for RDS, which can do all of this and many more. DevOps Guru for RDS goes beyond simply detecting the issues to actually explaining the causes and recommending fixes for these complex database performance-related issues. Built for Amazon Aurora, DevOps Guru for RDS leads you to solutions not in hours, just in minutes. Using machine learning models informed by years of our operational expertise, DevOps Guru for RDS automatically identifies and analyzes a wide range of potential issues, such as resource contention, resource exhaustion, or query regression. And then it provides in-depth root cause analysis with context, reasoning, and guidance to help you quickly tackle issues before they unnecessarily cost you time and money. DevOps Guru for RDS is yet another reason why moving to managed relational databases is so beneficial to our customers. But if you look at it, there are certain customers who are held back from migrating to databases in the cloud. These customers have critical applications such as Oracle E-Business Suite, or Microsoft Dynamics AX, or SharePoint that were designed to run on commercial databases with very specific configurations. As customers modernize, they want the flexibility of the managed databases that cloud provides, such as the elasticity, cost savings, performance, but they also need the ability to customize their databases so that they can actually run these apps. In order to unlock the value of managed relational databases in the cloud, in October, we announced Amazon RDS Custom with support for Oracle. Amazon RDS Custom is a managed database service for applications requiring customization of your underlying database and also your operating system. And I'm excited to announce that in addition to Oracle apps, Amazon RDS Custom now supports SQL Server applications, including SharePoint, Power BI, Active Directory, Dynamics, and Polybase. Amazon RDS Custom supporting both Oracle and SQL Server will open up the benefits of managed databases to many more. But of course, relational databases are not the only thing we focus on in AWS. As customers move their data to the cloud, they are also rethinking how they build applications. Today's applications require enormous scale and millisecond latency to do things like supporting millions of users who are buying things online, or deciding what to watch, or ordering a rideshare. So if I go back and look at my own journey, as an intern at Amazon more than 16 years ago, I was working as an engineer on Amazon.com site, and we just had a serious scaling failure. The problem was caused by a relational database. The database was at that time provided by a third-party vendor. And then when this happened, and then we recovered, the engineering team huddled in a room and then did a process what we call as a COE, which is a really clinical evaluation of understanding what went wrong, what caused it, and then actually start writing up saying, like, so how are we going to actually fix this issue in the future so that it doesn't happen again? It's a really important process that we use for our operational excellence. But then during this review, I don't know if it was me being naive or just being confident in a way some 20-something would be, but I asked the question, why are we using a relational database for this? This question, along with discussion with my team, was the inception of what would later become Amazon DynamoDB, our fast, flexible, NoSQL database service. The purpose-built database is designed to handle large amounts of data that is key value at a single-digit millisecond performance at virtually any scale. You couldn't do this with the relational databases because it's too complex and too expensive. In fact, DynamoDB now powers multiple high-traffic Amazon sites, including Alexa, multiple Amazon.com websites, and all Amazon fulfillment centers. Now, over the course of 66-hour Prime Day, these sources made trillions of API calls while maintaining high availability and single-digit millisecond latency, and peaking at 89.2 million requests per second. And customers like leading e-commerce company Mercado Libre migrated 5,000 plus Apache Cassandra databases to support 76 million customers. Social network Snap supports hundreds of millions of Snapchatters, sending billions of pictures and videos every day using DynamoDB. But as database workloads on DynamoDB has become more diverse and sophisticated, with changing requirements all the time, customers are continuing to ask us to figure out ways to further optimize their costs. Let's take a specific scenario. Customers often need to store data for several years. And while this data is accessed infrequently, it must be highly available. For example, as an end user of a social app, I barely go back and use, let's say, my post 5 years ago. But then when I really need to access it, I do want the data being available. So as a developer building this social app, I have two choices. Either leave the data in the same way it is and incur the cost, or archive it to a storage service like S3, and then build a scaffolding query layer on top, where you are essentially spending a lot of energy to do this. So there is essentially a trade-off between cost and complexity. Now, to address this trade-off, I'm excited to announce a new table class for Dynamo, DynamoDB Standard Infrequent Access Table Class. It is a new cost-effective table class to store your infrequently accessed data while maintaining the high availability and performance that only Dynamo can give you. DynamoDB Standard IA table class reduces your storage costs by 60% compared to your existing Dynamo costs without compromising on durability, availability, and scale. The best part is you can switch between these table classes anytime based on the changing needs or fluctuations in your requirements. Beyond RDS and Dynamo, customers are also looking for databases that for all kinds of workloads. To enable this, AWS offers the broadest set of purpose-built data stores to support your most demanding workloads at a fraction of the cost of old guard databases. For instance, when you're looking for ways to actually find connections within your data set, then you need a graph database like Amazon Neptune. Or if you need in-memory databases with a Redis API like Netflix and Cimpress, you want Amazon MemoryDB. Or if you are like the German football league Bundesliga, and you want to consume all the JSON documents and actually send it as personalized feeds to your fans, then you need a document database like AWS DocumentDB. Or if you're a company like A&E Networks and you want to deliver sub-millisecond search results, you need a caching layer like Amazon Elasticache. Or if you are like a real-time communication platform, PubNub, and need to store and analyze trillions of events every day, you need a time series database like TimeStream. With all these databases, it's clear that moving to a managed cloud databases is essential to building a data strategy that lets you act on your data with better price and performance. But migrating your databases is not always easy. There are a number of error-prone tasks that you incur when you migrate, right from schema creation to data transfer to changing your application code and queries. Each of these traditionally requires a set of unique expertise. That's why we have tools like AWS Database Migration Service and Babelfish for Postgres that bundles up all the best practices and experiences we have with these migration so that those things can be put to work for you. In fact, over 500,000 databases have been migrated to AWS with our AWS Database Migration Service alone. But while customers have migrated successfully using AWS DMS, many of our customers don't have just one database. They have a full fleet of databases. And we have heard from our customers that building a migration plan for their entire fleet of databases is a challenging thing to do. To do this, first, companies really need to do an inventory for each of their on-prem databases. Second, customers must decide on the right migration path for each of their database, and then understand and analyze for each of the database what is the right target AWS service. Now, this process can be highly manual and can take weeks or months, and many customers often need to hire either database migration experts or hire a third-party vendor or tool to handle all these to analyze feature metadata, schema objects, and usage metrics, and whatnot. To address this challenge of migration of fleet of databases, today we are launching in preview AWS DMS Fleet Advisor, a new capability of AWS DMS that automates migration planning for entire fleet of databases. DMS Fleet Advisor automatically builds an inventory of your on-prem database and analytics service by streaming data from on-prem to Amazon S3. From there, we take it over, we analyze them to match with the appropriate amount of AWS data store, and then provide customized migration plans. All of this now just takes hours instead of what used to be weeks or months. DMS Fleet Advisor cuts costs because you don't have to rely on a third-party tool or hire expensive migration consultants. This is going to make it a lot easier for you to modernize your data infrastructure with powerful relational and purpose-built databases. Let's now turn to unification of data.
Expedia Group have more than 200 travel sites in 70+ countries, and we generate data at immense scale. Our platform processes more than 1 million events per second with advanced technology, data, and machine learning at its heart. It's our fundamental circulatory system for the Expedia Data Platform, powered by AWS. Our legacy of growth, both organic and by acquisition, has brought us complexity. Now, as we simplify and standardize, we've chosen Amazon S3 as our common data storage layer. Being cost-effective at petabyte scale and available across the enterprise has provided immense flexibility for us. We've taken advantage of optimized capabilities, for example, through Amazon EMR and Amazon SageMaker. Working together, AWS has provided the foundation for data scientists, analysts, and machine learning engineers to build, train, and deploy algorithms at scale. Thanks to AWS, Expedia's travel platform can leverage the advanced data stores, analytics, and machine learning capabilities we need to power travel for everyone, everywhere.
So Expedia is able to drive insights and innovation throughout their business because they have a common view of their data. For all companies, opportunities to transform your business with data exist all along the value chain. But making such a transformation requires companies get a full picture and a single source of truth of their customers and their business. This necessitates breaking down your data silos and bringing petabytes of data in one central place where the value of data can be unlocked with easy but governed and secure access so that builders who need it and when they need it, they can get and innovate with that data. Many companies are doing this today by unifying that data in a single data lake. A data lake is the foundation of your unification strategy. It enables you to collect, store, organize, and process valuable data from your various data silos. Once it's unified, you can make this data available in a secure way to the people that need it through the right set of analytics, visualization, and ML tools for all your unique use cases to enable data-driven decision-making. There are over 200,000 data lakes on AWS. In fact, we have more data lakes on AWS than anywhere else. It's companies like BMW, Vanguard, GE Healthcare, Slack, and many more. These companies are adopting data lakes as the single source of truth to drive decisions and new experiences. Customers are building these data lakes on Amazon S3 because it has unmatched durability, availability, and scalability. It has the best security, compliance, and audit capabilities, the fastest performance at the lowest cost, the most ways to bring your data in, and the most partner integrations. Unique capabilities of S3 include storing customer data in independent data centers in different ACs within a single AWS region, and then being able to replicate across multiple regions regardless of storage class. Now, once you have your data unified in a data lake, you now have to enable your teams to get access to this data. But of course, making this data available to everyone can be a scary prospect because, of course, you don't want this data to be put in the wrong hands. Customers often think they have to trade off between moving fast and data governance. But in reality, this is a false trade-off. You can actually move faster with the right governance structure in place because once you have implemented it, the right people can quickly find access to the right data when they need it. With such a structure, IT is no longer the bottleneck, and you can confidently get out of the way of the people who are using data to drive your business forward. To help companies put in place the right governance structure, we have AWS Lake Formation. With this, you can build a secure data lake in days instead of months. As Adam announced yesterday, now with Lake Formation, you can build fine-grained access control, including row and column level security. With Amazon S3 and AWS Lake Formation, you have a well-governed data foundation from which you can derive insights for your business. And the fastest way to turn your data into insights is through Amazon Athena, a serverless interactive query service. With Athena, you can get results in seconds, and you only pay for the queries you run. Athena is really easy to use. Simply point your data in Amazon S3, define your schema, and start querying using standard SQL. There is no need for complex ETL jobs to prepare your data for analysis. Now, Athena effectively makes it really easy for anyone with SQL skills to quickly analyze large-scale data sets. And another cool innovation with Athena is that it comes with built-in machine learning powered by Amazon SageMaker, enabling analytics teams to make model-driven data insights to business users and analysts without the need for specialized tools and infrastructure. Athena's ease of use and standard SQL interface has made it really popular among a wide variety of engineers. But we also know that our customers need a broad set of analytics services for all their specific use cases. In fact, when I talk to customers about data analytics and what they need, one thing I learned is data analytics often means different things to different people, depending on their use case and even depending on their role in their company. So in addition to Amazon Athena, we have purpose-built analytics for different use cases. For instance, if you're like Redfin and you need to process vast amount of data using distributed clusters to run things like Spark, Hadoop, and Presto, you can use Amazon EMR. If you're like Autodesk and need to quickly search and analyze large amounts of logs to understand the operational health of your system, you can use Amazon OpenSearch. If you want to do real-time processing of streaming data like Netflix, you can use Amazon Kinesis or MSK. Or if you need to scale to support thousands of users enterprise-wide, like Schneider Electric, you can use Amazon Redshift. And many of these amazing purpose-built analytics services are made even easier with yesterday's serverless launches. In fact, one of our leading analytics services, Redshift. When we launched Redshift 10 years ago, a petabyte-scale data warehouse at 1/10 the cost of traditional data warehouse was a big deal. Now we have tens of thousands of customers collectively processing exabytes of data with Amazon Redshift every day. Social gaming platform Zynga is able to process terabytes of data per day with Redshift while gaining insights into their player experience. Moderna was able to deliver a COVID-19 vaccine on a global scale with analytics powered by Redshift to accelerate their vaccine development. Jobcase uses Redshift ML to perform model inference on billions of job search recommendations in just minutes, effectively matching jobs to over their 10 million users. Now, as you can see, Redshift is being put to work in incredible ways by many customers. So I went back and looked at when we launched Amazon Redshift in 2012 as the first data warehouse, and since then, what are all the things we have done, and what are all the cool innovations that have happened? Since then, we have been innovating at a rapid clip to increase usability and performance for the service for our users. So I'm going to touch on a few under-the-hood innovations here, but you can learn more about these in the analytics leadership session with Rahul Pathak later today. The first one I'm going to talk about is, as more and more customers moved their workload on Redshift, they found that some workloads are compute heavy and some are storage heavy. But customers lived in an inefficient world where they had to either pay for both, where even if all they needed was more storage, they had to pay for compute, or vice versa. To address this, we introduced Redshift Managed Storage, starting with RA3 instances that enable scaling of storage and compute separately so that now customers pay only for what they use. The second innovation is, as the scale of data customers process on Redshift grew, they also push for significant performance improvements. This is where Aqua comes in. Aqua takes performance to the next level by accelerating query speed up by up to 10x. Aqua uses AWS-designed processors and a scale-out architecture to accelerate data processing beyond any traditional CPU can do today. Third, for many of our customers, query patterns are constantly changing and evolving. They can go from analyzing millions of rows in a given day to analyzing billions of rows just in a matter of weeks. If you look at it, this can change the underlying performance of your queries. So what used to run in, let's say, less than a second suddenly might take a long time to run. So instead of having to deal with this by pushing this complexity to customers and having them think about this problem, we have innovated in Redshift to be a self-learning system that is constantly looking for optimizations on behalf of our customers. For example, customers who are dealing with large amount of data where a query can actually has to process billions of rows, typically materialized views is a well-known technique in a database. Redshift's materialized views are different. It automatically rewrites the underlying queries as it adapts to your changing workloads to get you faster, more up-to-date queries. We have also added new automations, including adaptive queries that send short queries from your dashboards to an express queue for immediate processing, or automating table design using sort keys, and many more. And then for unpredictable workloads, Redshift's automatic workload manager uses machine learning to dynamically manage memory and concurrency so that it maximizes your throughput. And fourth, to help our customers do more with their data using machine learning, we introduced Redshift ML last year. Using a simple SQL command, a customer can create a machine learning model without even opening up a Python notebook or anything. Under the hood, Redshift exports all this data to S3, calls SageMaker Autopilot, and it picks the best performing model. And then it calls SageMaker Neo to optimize the model to run inside your data warehouse. That is one of the reasons why Redshift ML provides faster ML inference and training and lower training costs than any other data warehouse ML service. Taken all together, all of these unique under-the-hood innovation are why Redshift has up to 3x better price performance compared to other cloud data warehouses. And this is just the beginning of under-the-hood innovation we delivered for Redshift this year. And you will see a lot more coming in the future. Amazon Redshift and our purpose-built analytics services are a great option for data analysts. But then, to make data insights accessible for everyone in the organization, you need to provide the best business intelligence analysis tool. With the right BI tool, you can give your entire organization a common view of data. Amazon QuickSight is our ML-powered business intelligence solution. Over 100,000 customers are using Amazon QuickSight to easily create, publish, and embed interactive data visualization and dashboards. And with the newly released QuickSight Q feature, we are making BI self-service for everyone, allowing end users to ask questions of the data in simple language and get back answers with relevant visualization. QuickSight was built to scale to all users, and now with QuickSight Q, it is essentially making BI accessible to all users, requiring no BI training and ask questions in simple language. For instance, the NFL is using QuickSight for next-gen stats to share game stats with hundreds of users across broadcasters, writers, research analysts, and league teams. This enabled them to reduce the time to deliver game stats from several days to near real time during the game. And now with QuickSight Q, anyone can simply ask questions of the data in natural language and get accurate responses with relevant visualizations without any technical training required. We have talked a lot about how important it is to have data in the right database and data lake and data analytics. As Adam mentioned, now with federated queries in Athena and Redshift, you also now have the capability to not deal with data movement and combine all this data and query. But of course, if you don't use Athena and Redshift, you need to worry about how am I going to get all this data in a single place so that I can innovate with it, do machine learning, and so forth. If you need to query this wide variety of data sources, we have AWS Glue, our serverless data integration service to connect to your various data stores and move data back and forth. Glue provides a Glue Studio, which is our code-based interface, and a no-code visual interface with Glue Data Brew. So I have now shown you how you can unify your data with the data lake and analytics tools. Now to show you how to put all these tools together, I'm going to introduce Neeraja, Principal PM for Amazon Redshift, who drove Redshift Serverless for us.
Thank you, Swami. At AWS, we are rapidly innovating to make analytics easy and accessible for all users in the organizations. Today, I'm very excited to talk to you about Amazon Redshift Serverless and Amazon QuickSight, which makes analytics even easier. Let's get started. In the video game industry, it's hard to know which game will be a hit and which will be a flop. Let's say I work at a gaming company and we just launched a new game that becomes a surprise success due to a stellar review from a Twitch influencer. Now, the good news, we have millions of users across the world using our game. This increase in players is generating petabytes of event data that we need to aggregate and analyze so we can perform analytics across our games, game development, advertising, sales, and other teams. For diverse use cases such as reporting on the business KPIs, monitoring the real-time performance of the game, and informing our game personalization and monetization. Let's see how we can easily load, query, and analyze this data using Redshift Serverless and QuickSight Q. Previously, when we wanted to analyze this kind of data using our on-prem data warehouse, we had to rely on our technical teams to set up, configure, and tune the data warehouse. This could take many days or even weeks. Now, with the new serverless option in Amazon Redshift, we don't have to think about IT or we don't have to think about capacity. Redshift automatically provisions the data warehouse resources and intelligently scales them to deliver high performance for our workloads. We just need to focus on getting our business insights fast. With just a few clicks in AWS Management Console, I can get started with querying in Redshift Serverless. I don't have to choose node types, specify node count, or do any other manual configuration. The game data is being streamed and aggregated in real time to load into Redshift, along with a variety of structured and semi-structured data sources, such as player log files and external game operations data. Getting the data that I need for analytics into Redshift is easy. In Redshift, I can also directly access the game telemetry data from my data lake in Amazon S3 and also query the real-time player engagement data in my operational database in Amazon Aurora. If we want to collaborate with other teams for cross-group analytics or to align on our development strategies, we can do that easily and securely without any data movement. Thanks to Redshift's comprehensive live data sharing capabilities within and across accounts and across AWS regions. The querying activity from our developers, analysts, and data scientists has increased by 50x since the launch of the game. And the diversity of these use cases is generating varying and unpredictable workloads on our data warehouse. Redshift Serverless seamlessly and automatically scales in seconds to handle this growth in data and the query workload while still delivering consistently fast performance. Redshift Serverless also helps us optimize our costs as our needs change by matching the capacity to our workload demands, allowing us to just pay for what we use. We no longer have to pay for idle durations. With my data sources configured, now I am going to use QuickSight to analyze the player behaviors and see if there are opportunities to increase the revenue. Q enables anyone in the organization to ask questions in natural language and get answers with relevant visualizations. We no longer have to rely on our BI teams to update the data models or dashboards for every new question that we might want to ask. We just launched a game update, and we want to know which features are performing the best. The most popular feature is our newest, Achievement Awards. But is this translating into revenue? Notice how Q provides visualizations as well as suggestions for phrases with autocomplete so that we can quickly and easily ask questions without having to remember the exact terms. I can even expand on this question to see this information based on geography. And notice how Q provides the visualizations dynamically based on the type of data set. So this is all good news. The new feature is generating a lot of player interest and also generating revenue consistently across the world. So based on this analysis, I am going to recommend we do some A/B testing and try to increase the revenue and the engagement by incorporating this feature as part of our other games as well. Q makes getting and sharing insights with my team and the rest of the organization very easy. I can also see the list of questions, top questions from other users so that I can get ideas to improve my own dashboards. With the new easy-to-use serverless option in Amazon Redshift, combined with the machine learning-based visualizations in QuickSight Q, we were able to load petabytes of data, perform queries, and uncover insights for everyone in the organization. With the seamless and automatic scaling capabilities to handle our workload demands and just paying for what we use. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraj. So you have now heard a lot about technology aspects of data unification. But I would be remiss if I didn't speak briefly to the cultural aspect of data unification. On the culture side, you have to overcome data silos and what I call as data hugging. And you got to start treating data like an organizational asset. Companies generate a ton of data, but it is often untapped because companies don't really think of that data as a real asset that can generate new value. And when it is treated the right way, it is no longer the property of an individual department. And data producers are able to share their data in a responsible, secure way to the people that need it so that they can innovate and drive your business. Another challenge to address is what I call as data literacy. Companies that are successful with implementing a company-wide data strategy take the time to invest in educating their teams on how to handle data, how to interpret data, and how to make decisions from your data. And finally, to overcome inevitable organizational inertia, executives, they must champion data-driven decision-making. They must model data-driven decision-making and start implementing data-driven dashboards in their meetings instead of opinions to guide their decisions. Joining us today is Jack Berkowitz, Chief Data Officer for ADP. Jack manages a team that builds and operationalizes machine learning applications across ADP's HR, payroll, and time applications around the world. Today, he will share a little about how data informs what ADP creates for people and businesses. Please join me in welcoming Jack Berkowitz.
Thanks, Swami. Having spent more than 30 years in the tech industry working on analytics and the cloud, I was drawn to ADP because of its mission. It's a mission that's aligned to my core values. Those values are about helping people improve their lives by unlocking the power of data. But before I tell you how we do that, we need to start at the beginning. ADP started in 1949 in New Jersey, helping businesses pay their employees. From its early days, the company has always been focused on invention and innovation. We've had a proud history of a lot of great products and great firsts. Fast forward to today, we're the largest provider of human resource software and services. So what does that mean in terms of the size and the scale of our business? Well, those numbers are pretty impressive. We have over 920,000 clients doing business in over 140 countries. Our technology powers payroll processing, tax payments, job applications, timesheets. That means a lot of data and a lot of money is moving through our systems on a daily basis. In fact, we move over $2.3 trillion a year. This is the money that's used to pay you, pay me, and to submit our taxes, and to put money into our retirement funds. Now, the issue with $2.3 trillion is it's a massive number. And for me, it's a hard number to understand. So I thought about it a little bit, and I said, how can I conceive of that? Well, what if it was GDP? It's not GDP, but if it was GDP, how big would that number be? So we kind of took a look at it. Here's the top 10 GDPs. And if that $2.3 trillion was a GDP, ADP would land somewhere between France and Italy. So all of that data, all of this information gives us a unique perspective on the world of work. In fact, every month we issue a report in the public interest called the National Employment Report. Came out just this morning. And so as you can see, we deal with all this data, and it takes a special ability for us to be able to scale and manage it. We started our journey to the AWS cloud for this data in mid-2019. And we did it for three important reasons. One, so that we could tap the new capabilities. Second, so that we could get elasticity in the cloud. And third, it really has helped us create a data-driven culture so that we are more reactive, more understanding about what's going on in the world. Today, we're processing over 2.5 petabytes of data with over 25 billion individual data points represented. And that's boiling down to 312 trillion decisions a month being taken by our analytics and machine learning processes. Our team is at the very heart of that treasure trove of data. We build data analytics products, including the ADP Data Cloud, which provides people analytics and HR benchmarking to help companies measure, compare, predict, and understand their workforce and support them. This allows them to see trends, allows them to see if the programs and policies that they've put in place are effective. Everything you're seeing here is calculated on AWS using a full range of data, analytics, and machine learning capabilities. We use Amazon SageMaker for our machine learning, Amazon EMR, Amazon DynamoDB, Amazon Redshift, and Amazon Neptune to perform aspects of our overall data processing. These capabilities have enabled us to keep innovating on behalf of our clients. And one way we're doing this is to help them with some pressing needs in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion across their workforce. That's why my team developed the new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion dashboards that we launched earlier this year. It helps a company baseline and understand their diversity program, and not only internally, but for the first time in the industry, to be able to compare themselves to other companies. Not just other companies in their location, but also other companies in their industry and by company size. And this baseline information allows them to see whether or not their programs are having a positive and beneficial impact on the diversity programs that they've put in place. We still have issues, though, to address in terms of pay equity. But before we get into that, let's step back and take a look at what's happened in the US employment market over the past 20 months. What I'm showing you here is data from ADP that shows you what happened in the total US employment over those past 20 months. You can see when the COVID crisis began. Unfortunately, there were differences in terms of the types and genders of people losing work. In fact, what you can see is, yes, a lot of people lost their jobs. Those jobs are coming back. But men actually fared a lot better than women during the pandemic. Certain industries were affected a lot more as well. Hospitality, manufacturing, retail, areas that have not yet made full recoveries. If we look at pay, you can see, though, that the gap between men's pay and women's pay is not where we all want it to be, but it seems to be level over time. However, these numbers are a little bit misleading, because if we add back in those jobs that women lost in a larger extent in those industries, from hospitality, transportation, the pay gap is actually getting worse. In fact, my associates at the ADP Research Institute tell me that 20 years of progress for women have been lost in terms of pay equity gaps over the pandemic. But collectively, we have an opportunity to improve that. So how do we do that? Well, our team has also recently built and launched a new capability called the Pay Equity Storyboard. It's a set of insights and tools and explanations and visualizations that allow companies to understand the pay equity issues that they have and to do plans and to make changes proactively, taking insights straight to action to correct pay gaps. Now, we released this just a few months ago, at the beginning of the summer. So on just a few months of data, we're starting to see some pretty incredible reactions. About 1,000 clients have started to use the pay equity storyboard, 65% of them showing pay equity improvement. On average per client, they've increased, or they've made a $1.1 million impact. That's over $720 million returned to communities. But this is about people, individual people. And for that, for an individual person, that's equated to about $3,500 for 210,000 people. And for workers who industries who are hit hardest by the pandemic, this is meaningful money. This could mean making a needed car repair, it could mean enabling children to participate in extracurricular activities, or simply saving money for a rainy day. At ADP, we're always designing for people, and data informs how we do that. At the end of the day, all of our data and everything we do starts with them, and you and I, and tens and hundreds and thousands of people. Now is the time to use data to help people to understand what actions we can take to create a more diverse, a more equitable, and a more inclusive work environment, and to build the future we all want to create. Thank you.
At Slack, our mission is to make people's working lives simpler, more pleasant, and more productive. In this new era with people embracing distributed work, Slack has become their digital HQ, a place to connect your people, partners, and systems no matter where you are. And we've been working closely with AWS on this for years. From the start, we built Slack on AWS, and it's helped us scale to tens of millions of users. With powerful machine learning and real-time communication capabilities, AWS enabled us to launch some of our newest and fastest adopted features like Slack Huddles and Slack Clips to help teams embrace flexible and asynchronous work. Slack Huddles is a lightweight audio-first way of communicating that's built on the Amazon Chime SDK, which powers real-time communication capabilities. And Slack Clips is a new way to create and easily share audio, video, and screen recordings in any channel or DM in Slack. In fact, this is coming to you through a Slack clip today. It's built on Amazon Transcribe, which enables real-time language detection, and AWS Elemental Media Convert to power rich async media experiences. And of course, at the center of it all is data. We use AWS machine learning and data analytics to better understand product usage, fine-tune future development, and inform our product roadmap. Thanks to AWS, we're helping companies build their digital HQs for more flexible, inclusive, and connected work.
All right. As you can see, with a solid data strategy, both ADP and Slack were not only able to drive data insights throughout their organization, but they were also able to innovate with machine learning, which leads to my next section, innovation. Machine learning is one of the most transformative technologies we will encounter in our generation. It is improving customer experience. It is creating more efficiencies in our operations and spurring completely new innovations. Having the right data strategy is critical to this innovation. Today, more than 100,000 customers are using AWS for machine learning. In fact, according to IDC, more ML workloads happen on AWS than anywhere else. Customers choose AWS for our reliability, ease of use, and security. For instance, Cerner developed an ML solution to make near real-time predictions about patient care and hospital operations, including helping clinicians identify those at risk for opioid abuse. Tyson uses computer vision on the edge to provide real-time visibility into its packaging line throughput to reduce waste, but also deliver customer shipments on time. Pinterest uses machine learning and natural language processing to build better internal search, thereby enabling employees to find critical information faster. Startup Carbon Lighthouse uses ML to develop insights that deliver energy savings and decrease CO2 emissions in commercial real estate, which contributes 40% of US annual emissions, reducing more than 584,000 metric tons of emissions today. To meet our customers where they are and help them achieve specific business outcomes, we provide the broadest and most comprehensive set of ML capabilities for builders of all levels of expertise, irrespective of whether you have a PhD in ML or you're just getting started with ML altogether. For those building on frameworks and managing their own infrastructure, we provide optimized versions of popular deep learning frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, MXNet. These set records on yearly basis in terms of the fastest training times and the lowest inference latency. And here, AWS provides the broadest and comprehensive set of compute, storage, networking technologies with a choice of processors and accelerators to meet your performance and budget needs. Then, to make ML really easy to build and to help organizations scale their ML adoption, we built Amazon SageMaker, a service that makes it really easy to build, train, and deploy ML models so that machine learning becomes as easy as software development. And the top two layers are our AI services, which enable customers to infuse artificial intelligence into their applications and business processes quickly without any ML experience. Customers can now add core AI capabilities like vision, speech, chat, and text to applications through easy-to-use APIs. And then we also have specialized services that address common business problems like personalization, internal search, and fraud detection, as well as industry-specific use cases in healthcare and industrial end-to-end. As you can see, we are innovating on behalf of our customers at every level of the machine learning stack. Now, let me walk through each layer of the stack and all the innovations we are doing here. Let's start with the bottom layer. All machine learning needs strong foundations to build upon. So we are innovating under the hood to optimize for cost and performance. This starts with having the right compute infrastructure for machine learning. In this area, we are investing in instances with the latest GPUs and custom accelerators to give customers lower cost and higher performance for both training but also inference. For inference, earlier this month, we introduced G5 instances that deliver up to 3x the performance of its predecessor G4 instances. In addition to GPUs, we have also invested in our own custom ML chips. Customers like Airbnb, Amazon Prime Video, and Sprinklr, they continue to benefit from Inferentia, the first AWS ML chip that delivers up to 70% lower cost for machine learning inference compared to current generation GPU instances. For training, we have GPU-based instances like P4D and G5 that feature powerful GPUs from NVIDIA. This year, we also introduced new EC2 DL1 instances powered by Habana Gaudi accelerators from Intel that deliver cost-efficient training for use cases such as computer vision and natural language processing. Then, just yesterday, Adam announced the preview of new Amazon EC2 TR1 instances, our first AWS Trainium-based instance, which will provide the best price performance in the cloud for training your deep learning models. The TR1 instances are deployed in EC2 Ultra clusters, consisting of tens of thousands of Trainium chips with petabit scale networking. These Trainium-powered Ultra clusters serve as a powerful ML supercomputer for training the most complex deep learning models. While cost and performance are important areas for us to focus, for ML to truly scale, machine learning must get easier to adopt. Machine learning was a much hyped technology, and it's only in the last 5 years or so that hype has turned into reality for many of you. Spurred by the availability of limitless compute thanks to cloud, and the ease of access in which you can store and access and process your data, ML is becoming more and more mainstream thanks to all the machine learning tool innovations that I will talk about. Right from day one, we are focused on making ML accessible to those who need to use it. And we have done this where the end user has expanded from ML practitioners to application developers and now even business users. Today, I'm going to walk through some of the new areas we are investing in, giving new users all the tools they need to do to implement machine learning. Now, to make it easier for organizations to start building ML models quickly and easily, we have built Amazon SageMaker from the ground up to provide every developer and data scientist with the ability to build, train, and deploy ML models quickly and at a really low cost. SageMaker provides the tools required for every step of the machine learning workflow, right from data preparation, then model building, training and tuning, and deployment and management, all in one integrated, fully managed service. Since launching SageMaker in 2018, our customers have been able to scale their use of ML considerably. Today, SageMaker has tens of thousands of customers using the service to train models with billions of parameters to make hundreds of billions of predictions every month. These customers are standardizing on SageMaker so that they can move faster. For instance, NerdWallet reduced training costs by 75%, even while increasing the number of models they are trained. Vanguard has fully automated the setup of its ML environments and can now deploy machine learning models 96% faster. AstraZeneca can now deploy ML environments to accelerate their R&D in just 5 minutes. These companies are adopting machine learning to transform entire industries and enable new technologies that will have profound implications of how we live and how we work. Joining us today to discuss how machine learning is helping accelerate the delivery of autonomous vehicles at scale is Aurora co-founder and CEO, Chris Urmson.
Good morning. At Aurora, we're building a technology that allows cars and trucks to drive themselves. The Aurora Driver uses a combination of LiDAR, camera, and radar data to see hundreds of meters all around it so it can drive safely. Our vehicles are on the road in California, Texas, and Pennsylvania. And today I'm going to share a quick glimpse of our technology and how we use AWS to help transform the future of transportation. For many, the idea of self-driving cars seems really new, but it's actually not. This is a drawing from Scientific American from 1918, over a century ago. It shows not just a horseless carriage, but their vision for what a driverless carriage might look like. Over the decades after that, there was lots of interesting work, but the big step for self-driving technology came in the early 2000s when DARPA organized the Grand Challenges. These were robot races across the Mojave Desert. This is Sandstorm, Carnegie Mellon's vehicle, which I helped lead the development of. This vehicle utilizes much of the same technology that we use today. It has cameras, radars, LiDAR, lots of computing in that big box, and it even relies on HD maps. Fast forward a decade, and to 2016, this was the final accomplishment of my time leading what is now Waymo. We helped a blind man drive through a suburb of Austin alone. This highlighted the promise of the technology, but also the importance it has in everyday life for every one of us. Now another 5 years, at Aurora, we've been building the next generation of self-driving technology. It's built around a common core that enables us to drive both trucks and cars. This video showcases the Aurora Driver making the 200 and some mile trip between Houston and Dallas on the I-45. This is one of the busiest, most congested trucking corridors in the US, seeing over 4,500 trucks a day. In this video, you can see how we combine sensor data to provide a clear model of the world and then drive safely through it. In this case, we're pulling a load full of FedEx packages. I'll let this play while I carry on. Transportation is critically important. It's the backbone of the US and global economies, and it's essential to our way of life. There's also a profound opportunity to make it better. In the US, about 40,000 people die on our roads every year, and we can drive that towards zero with self-driving technology. 25.5 million people don't have the same ability to get around that you and I might take for granted. For those people, we can provide them the mobility to get them where they need to go. And for those of us who can drive, even those of us who enjoy driving, commuting is not fun. That's an hour a day that most of us spend hating life. We can make that better. And then finally, we're all witnessing the fragility of our supply chains. This is partly due to the massive shortage of truck drivers in the US. Today, we're short about 80,000 drivers, and by the end of the decade, we expect to be short 160,000 drivers. The Aurora Driver can help us fill that gap. We've built the Aurora Driver to help people and goods get through the world, but our first product is going to be in freight driving 18-wheelers. This is our company's mission. It's to deliver the benefits of self-driving technology safely, quickly, and broadly. To deliver the benefits, we have to make the technology work, and it's an immensely complex and challenging technology that is built on breakthroughs in perception, embedded computing, machine learning, motion planning, decision-making, and advanced sensor technology. Our approach to development mirrors our mission. We put safety first, we move quickly, and we're designing technology that's broadly scalable. Virtual testing is key to realizing this approach. Our virtual testing suite enables us to develop dramatically more efficiently and safely compared to pure on-road development approaches. We accelerate our development and validation through scalable simulation in virtual environments. Simulation allows us to test at a scale and cost we just couldn't achieve in the physical world. We've built a proprietary technology that allows us to accurately model how energy and light moves through the world. This allows us to build physically accurate sensor simulations of cameras, of conventional LiDARs like this, and of our proprietary FirstLight LiDAR, which is an FMCW technology that allows us to see further and react more quickly than conventional LiDAR. And of course, we can also model radar data as well. Around this, we've built a procedural generation framework that allows us to create a basic scene and then create complex variations on that scene easily. This becomes particularly important when we're testing scenarios that are too rare or dangerous to just hope we come across in the real world. In this scenario, for example, we have a small girl running out between two parked cars. Fortunately, the Aurora Driver, of course, is able to react to this and stop safely. Because it's so useful, we do a lot of simulation. We do over 5 million simulations a day, and over Aurora's history, we've done the equivalent of over 6 billion miles of simulated driving. This all relies on an agile and robust software infrastructure. We generate an incredible amount of data and use a substantial amount of computational infrastructure. In simulation, we leverage S3 to store simulated logs. We use RDS databases to track the performance and metrics of our simulations. And then we use massive amounts of EC2 and Spot instances powering EKS for our largest distributed workloads. It's actually kind of incredible. I'm going to take a turn now and talk about our perception system. Perception is the ability of our vehicles to see and understand the world around them. And for this work, we rely heavily on SageMaker for model training and development. Building those models requires a massive amount of data, and the scale of data we deal with is incredible. With our latest hardware kit, we're generating more than 2 gigabytes of data per second. That's the equivalent of a VHS data tape per second. Well, I'll never underestimate the bandwidth of a station wagon full of data driving down the freeway. It's going to be hard for them to keep up with one of our trucks. So how does our perception system work? Well, it begins with our state-of-the-art sensor fusion approach, which combines data from the 20-plus sensors around our vehicle and progressively fuses that data with map data to produce high-quality detections of actors and pedestrians in full 3D and at very long ranges. Our sensor-to-tensor algorithm extracts data from the different views, transforming them into a common 3D representation. We call this the Euclidean tensor view. These views are then stacked together and processed by a neural convolution engine to produce detections, which include velocity, size, type of the object, and all the uncertainty about it. And this algorithm is one of 3 cores of our perception system. We combine the sensor-to-tensor system with our sensor-to-adjustment engine and our remainder explainer algorithm to create a robust, persistent view of the world that enables the Aurora Driver to understand the world despite the massive complexity and inherent in the real world. How robustly does it work? Well, here's an example of the Aurora Driver operating at a monsoon rainstorm in Texas. This is an incredibly challenging scene. As you can see, there's a lot of rain on the camera lens, there's water being thrown up by the road, and there's heavy rain in the air. Despite all of this, the Aurora Driver is able to drive safely down the road, even as other people, human drivers, are pulling off to stop. As you can imagine, making this work reliably is incredibly challenging. I've been working in this space for the last 18 years, and at Aurora, we've been working together for the last 5. Despite the challenges, the progress we're making is incredibly exciting. The promise of our technology is clear, and we're excited about what the future holds. With this technology, our roads can be safer, and transportation can be more accessible, more efficient, and more dependable. Ultimately, the Aurora Driver will enable our world's roads to better connect us to the things we need and the people we care about. I look forward to seeing you on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. That's amazing innovation powered by machine learning. As our customers scale, we are finding even more ways to support their needs in SageMaker. Now let's start with data prep. As I mentioned before, data is the fuel for machine learning. But even with the right data strategy in place, managing data can be the most time-consuming part of actually building ML models. So to help our customers better manage data prep and annotation, we are investing a lot in SageMaker. As I mentioned before, there are 2 types of data, structured and unstructured. Structured data is highly organized quantitative data that is really easy for ML algorithms to consume. However, structured data only makes a small percentage of all the data out there. Unstructured data, on the other hand, is 80% of all data. This data is qualitative, including things like images, videos, handwritten notes, and geospatial data. It's extremely valuable, but much harder to work with in the context of machine learning. We provide features of SageMaker that help with both structured and unstructured data. For instance, SageMaker Data Wrangler drastically simplifies the preparation of structured data with a no-code visual interface. For unstructured data, customers need large, high-quality labeled data sets. To do this quickly and more cost-effectively today, our customers use SageMaker Ground Truth. Ground Truth provides pre-built workflows and templates to create high-quality training data sets. For instance, the NFL uses Ground Truth to reduce the timeline for developing data sets by more than 80%. But as ML adoption grows, labeling needs from our customers are also increasing. If they have to label more and more data, customers typically need to build in-house teams consisting of data operations and program managers to produce high-quality labeled data, or outsource their data labeling operations altogether to a third-party providers. However, data labeling partners often require high upfront costs and contract and operate in silos without providing customers visibility into operations. To address this, today we are launching SageMaker Ground Truth Plus, which enables you to build high-quality ML training data sets at a really low cost without having to write a single line of code to build labeling applications or managing a workforce on your own. SageMaker Ground Truth Plus provides data labeling workflows based on your unique requirements and manages them on your behalf. Let me give an example. If you need people proficient in labeling audio files, you can specify that in the guidelines, and the service will automatically select labelers with those skills. From there, data labeling is done by an expert-managed workforce. Further, to decrease your labeling costs and also improve your quality, Ground Truth Plus provides ML-based labeling techniques, including active learning, pre-labeling, and machine validation. You can also get greater visibility in the data labeling operations with dashboards to monitor project progress, track project metrics, and provide feedback on the labeled output data as well. Next, let's talk about model building. Today, data scientists use SageMaker Studio notebooks to quickly spin up a notebook in SageMaker to build an ML model. But customers also tell us that to get the most value out of their data, they often need to do data engineering and analytics using separate notebooks. And increasingly, one thing I notice is the functions of data engineering, data analytics, and data science are starting to blur, either being performed by the same person or often needing access to the same tool sets. For instance, both the data engineer and the data scientist need to run some Spark workloads, be it for pre-processing or feature engineering or data exploration, or perhaps even model building. The context switching and setup of different instances is complex, and it really slows down innovation. Customers need one notebook for a wide variety of data needs. To meet this need, I'm really excited to announce that you can now do data processing, analytics, and ML workflows in one unified SageMaker Studio notebook. Think about it. Just like you can write many different documents from your word processing program, from this universal notebook, you can access a wide range of data sources and write code for any transformation for a wide variety of data workloads. Now, SageMaker Studio notebooks have built-in integration with Spark, Hive, and Presto running on EMR clusters, and data lakes running on Amazon S3, with support for additional data sources coming in early 2022. Let's take a look at an example of how this works. Previously, if I wanted to perform data workflows to understand customer cohort's propensity to buy a product using my customer review data, let's say it is sitting in EMR, I would have needed to explore, visualize, and analyze that data in EMR, then do a separate workflow where I bring that data to SageMaker and then create a model. Today, I can do all of this in one single notebook. I simply spin up a notebook in SageMaker, connect to Amazon EMR using Spark to bring the data in my notebook, then explore and visualize the data using Spark SQL and PyHive. And finally, I can access all the SageMaker tools to build and deploy a propensity to buy model. This will make it a whole lot easier for users to innovate with data in a number of different ways. Another area that I will touch on briefly here is training and deployment. As ML development is growing really fast and gets more sophisticated, machine learning models are also getting bigger, and customers need to focus on optimizing resources and their costs. Here, we are investing in a lot of innovations to provide you the best performance and cost of ownership through various infrastructure innovations in SageMaker. Today, we are bringing 3 new innovations in SageMaker that I will go over briefly, which you can learn more about in the leadership session with Bratin Saha later today. The first one we are announcing is SageMaker Training Compiler, which speeds up training by up to 50% through graph and kernel level optimizations that make more efficient use of GPUs. And it integrates with TensorFlow and PyTorch, and with minimal code changes, you get amazing cost savings. Once the models are trained and ready to deploy, customers need to go through a complicated process to actually run the inference of these models. You got to figure out what is the right instance to do. Is it meeting the right benchmark? And then figure out the memory and CPU requirements, all these things. This ends up making the process sometimes multiple weeks. To make this easier for our customers, we now have SageMaker Inference Recommender, a new capability that can reduce the time to deploy ML models from weeks to just hours. The final one is SageMaker Serverless Inference. Our customers are asked for scenarios that are so much where they don't want to manage the infrastructure for inference. And I'm really excited to announce serverless inference with which you can get started, and we take care of all the undifferentiated heavy lifting with capacity for you. All of these new SageMaker features are going to make it a lot easier for you to scale machine learning in your organization. But we also know that in order for companies to adopt ML, more business users need access to machine learning technologies, which means we need to lower the bar for adoption of ML. To make ML available to more business users, yesterday we launched Amazon SageMaker Canvas. Using a simple drag and drop user interface, analysts can go through the entire ML workflow, from preparing your data to picking the best ML model, and finally running the inference without writing a single line of code. And once the model is built, you can view model reports that help explain the model, make predictions, and share the model with SageMaker Studio users for collaboration with your data scientists, all from within the same visual interface. Now, to show you how this works, I'd like to invite Ali, Global Head of ML for Startups and Venture Capital.
Thanks, Swami. I'm excited to say to every analyst out there, your experience with spreadsheets is about to change forever. Let's take that CSV you're using every day and get more out of it with SageMaker Canvas. Let's jump into how it works using a really common use case, forecasting demand. Having an accurate forecast is a universal requirement, and many industries like retail, finance, manufacturing, and healthcare benefit from more accurate forecasts. That's because really accurate forecasts can save you a lot of money. Let's look at an example of how an IT department ensures efficient operations. IT departments are responsible for ordering and distributing computers to employees. It's not an easy job. How can a business analyst accurately forecast demand given that new people are always joining the company, computers can get lost, and everyone always wants the latest hardware? I want to walk you through an example of how I can predict the right number of computers for an entire year. With SageMaker Canvas, I can develop a machine learning model that forecasts demand of computers to make sure employees stay happy and productive, all without writing a single line of code or requiring ML expertise. I'm going to do this in 3 steps using SageMaker Canvas. First, access and browse the data. Second, prepare the data. And finally, run model training and build an accurate ML model based on my data set. The first step is to log into SageMaker Canvas and pull together the relevant data we need to create the forecast. I want to be able to forecast the demand for computers over the next 12 months because understanding my computer needs will not only help me negotiate a better price with vendors, but I might get a bonus for saving the company a lot of money. However, a lot of things can affect my prediction, including the number of employees who want a new computer, the number of new hires, computers lost, the number of computers per employee, and more. So I want to combine all that data into the model. Since data is also typically stored in countless locations, it can be annoying and time-consuming to combine those data sets. But with SageMaker Canvas, it's as easy as a few clicks. From the visual interface, I can connect and combine files from multiple sources, like my personal spreadsheet of tracking the number of laptops returned, to create a unified data set. In addition, SageMaker Canvas automatically detects errors and cleans data, like missing and invalid values. Once my data set is uploaded, I select the target to predict, the answer we want, which is a monthly forecast of computers needed over the next year. Since SageMaker Canvas detects a time-based input, in this case, the date when computers need to be made available, I confirm that I am indeed building a forecast model and provide my forecasting time horizon. Since new hire trainings typically slow down during the holiday season, I can probably get away without a large inventory during, say, August summer holidays. So I'm going to bring that holiday data into my forecasting model. The next step is to run model building. SageMaker Canvas automatically explores several different model candidates to find the best model based on our data set. SageMaker Canvas then builds, trains, and tunes a model that makes the most accurate predictions based on that data. I click Build Model, and after it's complete, I have a model to accurately forecast computers needed over the next 12 months. I see that the model is 73% accurate, which I feel good about. SageMaker Canvas also shows me what factors most influenced my forecast. And in this case, we see that the loss rate is really important for this type of computer. But let's dig in some more. SageMaker Canvas is also going to show me the upper and lower bounds of how many computers I should be buying. And get this, it's also going to let you play multiple what-if scenarios, even with multiple variables. So here's what happens if we change the rate of loss for this computer. The model updates immediately, and I can see that in February 2022, we'll need, on average, 3,700 type Lap 1 computers. And now I have an accurate forecast for how many computers I should be purchasing over the next year, and I can start planning and negotiating those discounts. If you're a business analyst looking to get more prediction power out of your spreadsheets, now's your chance. We covered a forecasting example here, but Amazon SageMaker Canvas can support a wide variety of use cases, custom tailored to your data, across marketing, sales, finance, logistics and operations. Maybe it's customer churn, propensity to buy, fraud detection, credit risk scoring, and more. Head to the console to try SageMaker Canvas today. Thank you.
Thanks, Sally. So while Canvas is putting ML development in the hands of business users and data analysts, we also know that there are many users who want to use machine learning, but they don't want to deal with building ML models. So machine learning infused into business processes across all industries is quickly going to be the new norm. So that is why we are invested in creating end-to-end solutions that solve business problems across industries with no ML experience required. For instance, for Koch Ag and Energy Solutions, detecting potential failures of industrial equipment is critically important to understand and also reduce expensive downtime and maintenance costs. To detect these issues before they occur, they use Amazon Monitron and Amazon Lookout for Equipment, are ML services that detect abnormal equipment behavior and enable predictive maintenance. With these ML solutions, Koch was able to detect potential equipment issues in fans and compressors in their nitrogen processing facilities, enabling them to proactively service equipment, thereby reducing potential impact to production. As you can see, machine learning is transforming what it can do to industrial and manufacturing. However, industrial is one of many use cases where we are seeing ML making a big impact. Across all industries, we see common use cases that are being addressed through ML. For these, we created individual AI services to address these end-to-end: personalization, forecasting, fraud detection, next-gen DevOps. And for others, our customers are putting together these services to build a comprehensive solution. One such problem that needed an end-to-end solution is internal search. Many of you likely have disparate siloed data inside your intranet, and you are very frustrated on why internal search is not as good as what is on the web. And you always take time to find the data that you want, and you don't get the answers that you are looking for. When Bloomberg Industry Group needed a solution to help their customers search for content that was dispersed and spread across their data silos, they were faced with the same problem: either task their IT department to invest in building one, or choosing a vendor that can actually build it for them. But they were not sure of the guarantee of success. This is where Amazon Kendra came in. Our intelligent search engine was chosen by Bloomberg because it was easy to implement, scale quickly, and it was highly accurate, and you can just ask questions in natural language. No more keyword search. This was a big thing for them, as it decreased the time to find information in just 2 clicks, what used to be 10. Now, even though we solved some of the biggest challenges with internal search, our customers told us we didn't solve the last mile problem. We still required customers to put together the internal search solution that is Kendra, and IT departments have to build the application that they can give it to their customers. So they asked us, why can't you address this last mile problem? To address this, today we are launching a new feature of Amazon Kendra, the Experience Builder, which makes it really simple for you to quickly deploy a fully featured, customizable Kendra search interfaces in just a few clicks, no coding required. You simply create a new search experience in the Kendra console. Drag and drop the search components you need, like a search box and a filter. And then you configure sign-on for secure access, add your branding logo, and share the link with your end users for immediate use. That's all you need to do to set up and deploy your intelligent search application. This is going to make it a whole lot easy for IT departments to deploy internal search. Another way customers are optimizing and improving customer experience through machine learning is through Intelligent Contact Center. Here, AWS provides a lot of innovations, all the way from building chatbots, smart routing of calls, near real-time agent assist, and post-call analytics, and so forth. For this problem, with AWS, you have flexible options. Amazon Connect is our single unified contact center for voice, chat, and task management. It includes Contact Lens for Connect, which provides real-time contact center analytics powered by machine learning. StubHub uses Contact Lens and Connect to decrease time to resolution by analyzing customer calls in real time as they progress through the call flows. Then there are contact center intelligence solutions offered through our partners that combine AWS voice, text, and chat capabilities. For example, the CDC worked with Maximus and AWS partner Success KPI to select a blend of AWS AI technologies to understand, for instance, an end-to-end view of agent effectiveness and insights into the root cause of vaccine hesitancy. Today, we are continuing to invest and innovate in enabling these contact center solutions in various new ways through machine learning. Let's take a look at chatbot, for example. Today, AWS customers use Amazon Lex to build a chatbot. Chatbots are a really interesting technology to address simple queries right away so that agents can focus on solving complex problems for their customers. But a poorly designed chatbot that fails to understand and fulfill customer requests can damage the customer experience. So you might ask, what separates a good chatbot from a bad one? It is effective conversational design, the ability to understand customer queries and respond in a natural, efficient manner. Conversational design of a chatbot is still highly complex, manual, and prone to errors. It requires understanding the nuances of a spoken language and human interactions. And without this specific expertise, developers spend hundreds of hours combing through all the historic call transcripts to find things like common user requests and the required information to fulfill them. To solve this problem, we are excited to announce Amazon Lex Automated Chatbot Builder, a new capability that reduces bot design from weeks to just hours. It drastically simplifies bot design by using advanced natural language understanding powered by deep learning techniques, and developers can now create a foundational chatbot design using historical call transcripts in just a few clicks. Let me explain. Automated Chatbot Designer can typically analyze 10,000 lines of transcripts within a couple of hours to identify intents such as file a new claim or check claim status. It makes sure these intents are well separated and there is no overlap between them, eliminating the need for a trial and error approach. For instance, if a customer says, get a quote, you probably want to know if they want to get an auto quote or a home quote. It also compiles information such as policy ID or claim type needed to fulfill those intents. This process makes it much easier and faster for companies to deploy effective chatbots. Now, we have talked a lot about tech innovation today, but that innovation can't truly scale unless machine learning is accessible to the next generation of developers. For any technology to achieve its full potential, we need to not only develop, but also educate the next wave of developers. Machine learning is no different. One, we must lower the skills barrier, and two, we need to make the tools and tech accessible to everyone, including underrepresented communities. So far, I've only talked about how we are lowering the skills barrier to scale the adoption of ML. Now, let's talk about how to make these tools more accessible for everyone. Learners need access to the right tools to build, train, and deploy ML models. To date, these data science tools have been either too complex or too simplistic to do meaningful machine learning. Either they got to pick a really robust cloud, secure, and worry about cloud infrastructure costs and configuration, security, and access control for simple learning and particular example. On the other hand, while free notebook hosting services exist and you don't incur any cost or anything, users can't save work, and they must start over with each session. These tools also do not provide a simple migration path where when I'm done learning and I want to put my learning into production, I have to learn a completely different tool. So to make this process really easy for our customers, I'm really excited to announce Amazon SageMaker Studio Lab, a no-charge, no-setup development environment for quick learning and experimentation powered by the same technology as Amazon SageMaker. With SageMaker Studio Lab, you simply sign up with an email address through a web browser and get access to ML tools such as Jupyter Lab and ML frameworks and libraries such as PyTorch, TensorFlow, XGBoost, and AutoGluon. Studio Lab provides 15 gigabytes of persistent storage, and each user session gets up to 12 hours of CPU and 4 hours of GPU to experiment with on your machine learning models. And when you're done experimenting and want to take your ideas to production, you can easily transfer your projects to Amazon SageMaker to deploy and scale models with just one click. Studio Lab will also be incorporated into D2L, our Dive into Deep Learning book, an open source textbook on GitHub that AWS and Amazon heavily contributes to. D2L is currently being used in over 300 universities across more than 50 countries, including Stanford, UC Berkeley, CMU, Tsinghua University, National University of Singapore, and University of Cambridge. Now, offering better data science tools for learning and experimentation is important, but there is more we can do to develop the next generation of ML developers. Amazon is committed to helping 29 million people grow their cloud computing skills by 2025, and ML education is a big part of it. More than 140,000 developers from over 150 countries have been educated on ML with AWS DeepRacer, our fully autonomous 118 scale race car. And over 1,000 companies have held DeepRacer events. We also have free educational courses through our training and certification program based on ML University, the same curriculum we use to train our Amazon engineers. Earlier this year, we partnered with massive open online course provider Udacity to award 425 scholarships to the ML Nano Degree program, with a focus on bringing more women and underrepresented groups into the program. At the same time, encouraging greater diversity and representation in the field of machine learning is an important priority for us. On this topic, let's hear directly from an NYU student and game programmer.
My name's Geneva. I'm a senior at NYU, and I'm a game programmer. I grew up in Jamaica, Queens with my parents and my 3 little siblings. It was a very technical household. We all played games together, all learned about computers. But my dad specifically was really into computers and taught me all of these different programs when I was in middle school. And that just kind of continued on when I went to high school. I was like, oh, you can code and you can make games? Video games at first meant entertainment, but as I got older, video games eventually meant another art form. It's freedom of expression. I feel like there's definitely a steep learning curve when it comes to programming. It's about finding resources or finding communities where you can learn with other people. I found communities of people that made games that were very LGBTQ focused, and because of that, I want to just put more of those out there. I feel like a lot of games need to acknowledge people of color's voices a lot more, or it's just adding more hairstyles instead of just being like, oh, well, I guess there's only one black hairstyle. Guess I'll choose this. AI can change the future of gaming just by looking at how AI is affecting our lives everywhere else. Equal representation and diversity in AI is super important just because AI is all around us. AI can possibly help people be more empathetic through video games. By having lots of different people from different backgrounds come together to work on something, new things will be brought to the table that wasn't there before.
It was great to hear directly from Geneva. Making ML more accessible to all is central to creating a more diverse and inclusive tech workforce. With that in mind, today we are launching the AWS AI and ML Scholarship Program, a new program that is supported by AWS, Intel, and Udacity that awards $10 million per year in scholarships and internships to prepare underrepresented and underserved students for careers in machine learning. Students from around the world have access to dozens of hours of free training and tutorials from AWS DeepRacer students. Then they can turn their theory into action. With this program, we will award 2,000 students scholarships to the AI programming with Python Udacity Nano program. Additionally, the top 500 students in this scholarship program will have access to mentorship opportunities from tenured Amazon and Intel ML technology experts. And any student who wants to test their models by racing virtual race cars in a competition can also join the AWS DeepRacer Student League, starting in March 2022. We are excited about how Studio Lab, the AWS AI ML scholarship, and DeepRacer student will open up machine learning to a broader group of people and enable the next generation of ML developers. Finally, one of the highlights of reInvent for me is the Deep Racer Championship finale. And we are holding it again at reInvent. Let's head down to the track to watch the Championship Cup finale and a look at what's around at the next term for AWS Deep Racer in 2022. For that, I'd like to hand it over to Ryan Marin.
Hi everyone, I'm Ryan Marine, and I'm excited to bring you the next evolution in racing, the world's first global autonomous racing league, AWS Deep Racer. In just a few moments, we will go live to the virtual track to find out who will take home the most coveted prize in machine learning, the AWS Deep Racer League Championship Cup presented by Intel. Over 70,000 developers, 150 countries, and 700 organizations have participated in the 2021 season. 40 developers earned a spot in the championships with $20,000 in prize money on the table. 16 developers made it through this week's knockout rounds. 3 made it through to the championship finale, where Ross Williams took on Sairam Naragoni for the right to face Yusuf Nizam in the final race. For Ross, it would be the end of the road.
It was a good run. I'm really happy to be here. I'm so happy that I made it this far.
Now, just 2 competitors remain. Teammates JPMC Rogue Hyderabad, Sairam Naragoni, and JPMC Ace Hyderabad, Yusuf Nizam.
Over the past couple of months, we came up with our own log analysis. To reduce the amount of training, we started using spot instances, and 2 people being in the top 3 just proves whatever we have been doing has been the right way to do it.
Deep Racer is what led us into this world of machine learning, and that has really opened our doors to much more things that we want to pursue.
Now we go live to the starting grid, where Sairam is set to go in the purple car and Yusuf is in the orange machine. The fastest to complete 3 laps will join Rick Fish, Haruka Sola Takishita, and Po Chun Shu in the Deep Racer Championship Circle. And in 3, 2, 1, they're off. From pole position, a great start for JPMC Rogue Hyderabad. Sairam sprinting out to a bit of a lead here over Yusuf. That is now a 1-second gap between the two as they head through the S's for the very first time. These two have been working in tandem, developing their models over the last couple of years. Off track there for JPMC Ace Hyderabad. That will cost him 2 seconds. You can see the lead has ballooned to over 5 seconds here as they embark on their second lap. Yes. Oh, what a first lap that was from JPMC Rogue Hyderabad.
I hope I don't get an off track.
That's all I'm banking on right now.
That gap is stabilizing at 5 seconds.
I will not give you that chance.
The lead is only growing.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Final lap of the season is underway.
Last lap, come on.
JPMC Rogue Hyderabad, best run through that part of the track so far.
I can see you on the other side of the track, man.
Able to extend that lead.
Why is it so stable?
2 corners separating Rogue from the championship, but he goes off track. Ace is closing in. Rogue accelerating away, looking for the checkered flag, and wins the 2021 Deep Racer League Championship.
Oh my God. This is crazy. Sorry, Yusuf. Someone had to win.
Well done to our runner-up, Yusuf Nizam. He'll take home $5,000 in prize money. And now, a big congratulations to your 2021 Deep Racer champion, Sairam Naragoni, who will be taking home $10,000 and the Deep Racer Cup. There was some drama, though, late in the race. You had that off in the final sector of the final lap.
Oh my God, that was crazy. This is the first time I think I won over Yusuf.
Well done to our 2021 Deep Racer champion, Sairam Naragoni. And now we barrel down the track toward a 2022 season that will make Deep Racer accessible to more developers than ever. With the all-new Student League sponsored by Intel, high schools and colleges worldwide can compete for scholarships, prizes, and glory. Enroll in ML Fast Track and hone your skills with access to over 20 hours of AWS machine learning educational content. Developers new to Deep Racer can get rolling with just a few clicks. No credit card required. And the Summit Circuit is back, in person, on physical tracks across the globe, with a chance to qualify for one of 50 coveted spots in the 2022 championships at reInvent. Discover how you can accelerate your machine learning journey at deepracerleague.com.
All right, we have covered a lot of ground in the last 2 hours, from modernizing your data infrastructure to unifying your data with the best of data lakes and analytics, and innovating with machine learning. This is going to help you reinvent with data immensely. And if I can leave you with one thing, it is this: a data-driven organization is imperative today and for the future of your organization. It is the difference between the companies that will just survive or those that are going to thrive. So no matter where you are today, whether you're still using on-prem data centers or you've already started with your ML journey, you need a data strategy that works not just for what it is now, but also what you need for the future. You need a complete end-to-end data strategy that can flex based on your use cases. And the best place to do that today is AWS. Thanks again for everyone from the AWS team and our partners who worked really hard on all the amazing innovation and launches. And thanks to all of you customers for pushing us to do even more. Have a wonderful rest of your reunion.